Imagine the quiet determination of a small bird, weaving twigs and scraps of plastic into a nest perched high atop a lamppost. In the heart of the city, this bird has learned to use the very structures that define our urban landscape as a safe haven for its young. Watch as a squirrel, agile and alert, pauses at the curb, its nose twitching as it calculates the rhythm of traffic. With a burst of speed, it darts across the asphalt, expertly weaving between tires and obstacles, a master of timing in a world of constant motion. The city's skyline stretches ever higher, glass and steel rising where meadows once lay. As the city expands, the boundaries between wild and urban blur, creating a new frontier for wildlife. Construction cranes swing overhead, transforming open land into dense neighborhoods. For animals, each new building is both a barrier and an opportunity, a challenge to their instincts and a test of their adaptability. Where forests once stood, only fragments remain, pressed against the edges of development. Many species must now navigate a patchwork of green spaces, learning to survive in shrinking habitats. Yet, as dawn breaks, the city stirs with hidden life. From shadowy corners and rooftop gardens, animals emerge, their senses finely tuned to the rhythms of urban existence. Raccoons, with nimble paws and keen intelligence, pry open bins and slip through fences while foxes patrol the quiet streets, their eyes reflecting the glow of streetlights as they search for food. Pigeons, once cliff dwellers, now stride confidently across plazas and rooftops, their flocks navigating the city's currents with practiced ease. Other animals, too, have learned to move through the city's maze, blending into the background of daily life. Adaptation is their greatest tool. Some change their diets, feasting on new sources of food, while others alter their activity patterns, becoming nocturnal to avoid the bustle of the day. For many, the city is a world of unfamiliar sights and sounds. Nighttime becomes their domain, when the city quiets and opportunities arise for the bold and the cautious alike. The landscape is unforgiving, endless concrete, sheer glass, and towering steel. Yet some animals have learned to scale these heights, nesting in crevices and ledges far above the ground. The city's constant noise and artificial light disrupt natural cycles, but certain species have adapted their communication, using higher-pitched calls or shifting their routines to quieter hours. For some, the city is a banquet. Raccoons and crows have become expert foragers, opening containers and solving puzzles to access discarded food, while birds scour parks for seeds and insects. Rooftops and abandoned buildings offer shelter from predators and the elements. Birds line their nests with city debris, while mammals find refuge in forgotten corners, turning the city's leftovers into lifelines. Across the world, scientists observe these urban survivors, tracking their movements and decoding their behaviors to understand the secrets of their success. Biologists document how some animals develop new skills, like using traffic to crack nuts or mimicking city sounds to communicate, while others form new social groups or territories. This field, known as urban ecology, reveals a tapestry of life interwoven with the city's fabric. Each species brings its own strategies, from stealthy movement to bold innovation. In city parks, squirrels leap from branch to branch, while birds gather in flocks, their calls echoing between buildings. Even in the busiest downtowns, wildlife thrives in unexpected pockets. Ingenious behaviors emerge, crows fashioning tools from wires, foxes timing their hunts to the city's rhythms, and insects exploiting microhabitats in cracks and crevices. Some birds perch atop traffic lights, using their vantage point to spot food or danger, while mammals synchronize their movements with the city's flow, avoiding peak hours and seeking out quiet moments. From tiny insects clinging to sun-warmed walls to deer venturing near subway entrances at dawn, each animal finds its own niche, carving out a life in the city's mosaic. The path is fraught with danger. Young animals must learn quickly. Hesitation at a busy street can be fatal, and every day brings new challenges. Navigating traffic, construction, and shifting landscapes, urban wildlife must constantly adapt, developing new strategies to avoid hazards and find resources. Each success is hard-won: a raccoon scaling a fence, a bird finding a safe nesting spot, a fox outsmarting a new obstacle. These moments are testaments to their resilience. Their persistence is a lesson in survival, a reminder that nature's ingenuity can flourish even in the most engineered environments. The city becomes a living laboratory where adaptation and innovation are on display every day, and where the boundaries of what is possible are constantly being redrawn. Across continents, each city presents its own unique challenges and opportunities. In Tokyo, crows drop nuts onto crosswalks, waiting for traffic to crack them open. In Toronto, raccoons have learned to open complex latches on garbage bins. In Paris, crows display remarkable intelligence, using tools and working together to solve problems, their black silhouettes a familiar sight against the city's iconic skyline. London's red foxes have become urban legends, slipping through gardens and alleys, raising their young in the shelter of railway embankments and overgrown lots. In New Delhi, monkeys scale apartment blocks and leap between balconies, their agility and boldness allowing them to thrive in the city's dense sprawl. Montreal's squirrels have mastered the art of city living, using playgrounds and parks as their own, caching food in hidden corners and outwitting rivals for the best nesting spots. Each city tells a story of adaptation, of animals learning, innovating, and thriving in the face of change. Their behaviors are as diverse as the cities themselves. From tool use to complex social strategies, urban wildlife demonstrates a remarkable capacity for problem-solving and cooperation, often in ways never seen in their rural counterparts. Yet, the city is not without conflict. Competition for space and resources can lead to tension, and animals must constantly balance risk and reward as they navigate their urban world. Innovative solutions are emerging: green rooftops, wildlife corridors, and urban sanctuaries designed to support the needs of city-dwelling animals and foster a new kind of coexistence. In this ever-evolving landscape, the story of urban wildlife is one of ingenuity, resilience, and hope. In the heart of the world's great cities, where concrete and steel dominate the landscape, wildlife faces a profound challenge: how to carve out a home in an environment seemingly devoid of natural shelter. Yet animals have demonstrated extraordinary ingenuity, transforming the urban jungle into a mosaic of unexpected habitats. In London, red foxes have become masters of adaptation, establishing dens beneath railway bridges and in the tangled undergrowth of forgotten lots. Hedgehogs, once reliant on woodland thickets, now seek refuge beneath garden sheds and in piles of urban debris, using the city's overlooked corners as sanctuaries. High above the bustling streets of New York, peregrine falcons have repurposed skyscraper ledges as nesting sites, mirroring the sheer cliffs of their ancestral habitats. These lofty perches offer safety from ground-level threats and panoramic views for hunting, allowing the falcons to thrive amidst the city's vertical sprawl. In Berlin, little owls have found sanctuary within ventilation ducts and the crevices of old stone walls, while kestrels nest in the hollow spaces of traffic lights and highway overpasses, turning the city's infrastructure into vital breeding grounds. Even the smallest creatures display remarkable resourcefulness. In São Paulo, leafcutter ants have established colonies inside discarded bottles and cans, while honeybees exploit cracks in masonry to build hives within the walls of abandoned buildings, using the city's refuse and architecture as both shield and shelter. Birds, too, have redefined their nesting strategies. In Tokyo, barn swallows affix their mud nests beneath highway bridges, while common swifts exploit the tiniest crevices in high-rise buildings, forming colonies where the wind currents mimic those of open cliffs. In Melbourne, ring-tailed and brush-tailed possums have adapted to urban life by nesting in roof cavities, attics, and even city drains, using power lines and rain gutters as highways between their improvised homes. North American cities like Chicago and Toronto have seen coyotes and raccoons establish dens in storm drains, abandoned vehicles, and overgrown lots, capitalizing on the city's hidden spaces for both shelter and raising young. In Vancouver, beavers have returned to city waterways, constructing lodges and dams in canals and park streams. Their engineering not only creates new wetlands but also supports a cascade of other urban wildlife, from amphibians to waterfowl. Bats and swiftlets, often overlooked, have found ideal roosts in the dark recesses beneath bridges, inside abandoned tunnels, and even in the ceilings of underground car parks, where the microclimate mimics their natural caves. As animals reshape the city to suit their needs, new habitats emerge. Urban wetlands, rain gardens, and green roofs become vibrant ecosystems, supporting herons, kingfishers, turtles, and countless insects, all thriving in spaces once considered inhospitable. Reptiles, too, have found their niche. In Madrid, wall lizards bask on sun-warmed bricks and sculptures, while urban snakes seek shelter beneath sidewalk grates and compost heaps, exploiting the city's warmth and abundant prey. Across the globe, animals are not merely surviving in our cities, they are innovating, engineering, and redefining what it means to call a place home. From the heights of skyscrapers to the shadows beneath our feet, the urban environment is transformed into a living tapestry of adaptation. Each species, in its own way, reveals the boundless potential of nature to flourish, even in the most unlikely of places. For every animal, finding food is a matter of survival. In the wild, this means hunting, foraging, and adapting to the rhythms of the natural world. But in the city, the rules are rewritten, and urban wildlife must develop new strategies to thrive. In forests and woodlands, animals like deer and squirrels rely on seasonal abundance, berries, nuts, seeds, and the occasional insect. Their diets are shaped by what the land provides, and their foraging is guided by instinct and experience. Yet, as animals move into urban environments, their food sources change dramatically. The city offers a patchwork of opportunities and obstacles, demanding flexibility and ingenuity from its wild inhabitants. Many urban animals have become skilled at exploiting the resources left behind by humans. Overflowing trash bins, discarded food, and neglected corners of the city become vital feeding grounds. Raccoons, foxes, and gulls are especially adept at scavenging, using their keen senses to locate edible scraps in the urban sprawl. In London, red foxes have mastered the art of urban foraging. They patrol quiet streets at night, silently tearing open plastic bags and searching for anything edible. Some have even learned to anticipate regular food deliveries, snatching bread or pastries left on doorsteps before dawn. The food they find is often far from natural: pizza crusts, processed snacks, and salty leftovers. While these items are not ideal for their health, the sheer abundance and accessibility make them a staple of the urban diet. This shift in diet is a profound adaptation. Animals that once relied on berries, insects, or small mammals now supplement their meals with whatever the city provides. Pigeons, crows, and squirrels have all expanded their palates, consuming everything from sandwich crusts to fried potatoes. In Paris, crows have demonstrated remarkable intelligence by associating fast food logos with easy meals. They wait patiently in trees or on rooftops, watching for the moment when food is abandoned, then swoop down to claim their prize. This ability to connect symbols with rewards is a testament to their adaptability. Urban crows have shifted from a diet of insects and seeds to one dominated by scavenged human food, thriving in the heart of the city. Around the world, this reliance on human food is evident. In Montreal, vast landfills attract thousands of gulls who spend their days soaring above the refuse, picking out morsels from the endless supply of waste. The easy access to food allows their populations to grow rapidly, sometimes overwhelming the local ecosystem. But not all urban animals depend on scavenging. Some, like the peregrine falcon, have retained their hunting instincts, adapting them to the city landscape. Nesting on skyscrapers, these raptors hunt pigeons and starlings, using the tall buildings as vantage points for their high-speed dives. Foxes, too, continue to hunt in the city, preying on rats and mice that flourish in the urban environment. By controlling these populations, they play a crucial role in maintaining the balance of the city's ecosystem. Beyond the obvious scavengers and hunters, many other species have found unique ways to survive. Hedgehogs forage for insects in city parks and gardens, while bats take advantage of streetlights that attract moths and beetles. Squirrels raid bird feeders and balconies for seeds, and magpies collect both food and shiny objects from rooftops and alleys. Urban waterways provide foraging grounds for ducks and herons who feed on aquatic plants, fish, and invertebrates. Even small mammals like mice and voles find seeds and insects in overgrown lots and neglected gardens. Insects, too, adapt to city life. Bees and butterflies pollinate flowers in urban parks and gardens, feeding on nectar and contributing to the health of the city's green spaces. Birds of prey such as kestrels hunt over city grasslands and meadows, catching voles and small birds. Herons fish in canals and ponds, taking advantage of the city's waterways. Each species carves out its own niche, using a combination of instinct, learning, and innovation to find food. The urban environment is a complex web of opportunities, and survival depends on the ability to adapt and exploit every available resource. The result is a new and intricate city food web, where scavengers, hunters, and foragers coexist, each playing a role in the ever-evolving ecosystem of urban life. Every city is a living mosaic where wildlife carves out its own narrative amid concrete and steel. In New Delhi, India, rhesus macaque monkeys have mastered the art of urban survival. Agile and resourceful, they traverse tangled power lines and leap between rooftops, forming complex social groups that mirror the city's own bustling energy. These monkeys exploit every opportunity, foraging through markets and scavenging in parks, their adaptability allowing them to thrive in the heart of the metropolis. Their presence is woven into the city's fabric, from temple courtyards to leafy parks, where they navigate the urban landscape with remarkable intelligence and dexterity. In stark contrast, Montreal, Canada, tells the story of the grey squirrel, a species that has flourished in the city's green spaces. Grey squirrels dominate the parks, their silvery coats flashing as they dart across lawns and ascend towering maples. Their keen senses and nimble movements allow them to exploit every corner of the urban ecosystem, from the highest branches to the smallest crevices. Unlike their rural relatives, these city squirrels display a rare social tolerance, gathering in large numbers and sharing resources with minimal conflict. In some urban parks, dozens of squirrels can be seen foraging together, a testament to their adaptability and the abundance of city life. Meanwhile, in the Netherlands, a different challenge unfolds beneath the surface of the city's iconic canals. Here, aquatic life must contend with relentless underwater noise generated by boat traffic and construction. Fish navigate these murky waters, relying on sound to find food, avoid predators, and communicate, skills made increasingly difficult by the city's constant hum. In this environment, vision is often useless, and the masking of natural sounds by human activity can disrupt entire aquatic communities. The result is a hidden layer of stress, as fish and other aquatic animals struggle to adapt to a world where their senses are constantly challenged. These stories, from the rooftops of New Delhi to the parks of Montreal and the canals of the Netherlands, reveal the extraordinary ways animals adapt to city life. Each species, whether monkey, squirrel, or fish, faces its own unique challenges and opportunities, shaped by the realities of the urban environment. These glimpses into urban wildlife are not just stories, they are windows into the resilience, ingenuity, and complexity of life in the city. There is no single narrative for animals in urban spaces. Each city, each species, writes its own chapter in the ongoing story of adaptation. Across the globe, thousands of unique stories unfold every day, Stories of survival, innovation, and coexistence, all shaped by the ever-changing cityscape. In the intricate urban tapestry of Paris, crows have emerged as some of the city's most sophisticated inhabitants, their intelligence drawing the attention of leading ornithologists such as Frédéric Giguet. These birds are not mere survivors. They are highly adaptive strategists, capable of complex problem-solving and remarkable feats of memory. Through the use of miniature GPS trackers, researchers have unveiled the crow's hidden patterns, revealing a city-wide network of movement and resource exploitation. The data reveals that Parisian crows maintain meticulously organized routines with synchronized group behaviors that suggest advanced social coordination. Each night, hundreds converge on secure communal roosts such as Père Lachaise Cemetery, selecting these sites for their safety and strategic vantage points. By day, they disperse to prime foraging grounds like the Forum des Halles, exploiting the city's rhythms to maximize access to food discarded by the urban populace. The research demonstrates that these crows possess a sophisticated cognitive map of Paris, enabling them to navigate the city's labyrinthine streets with precision. They exhibit acute awareness of optimal feeding times and safe havens, adjusting their routines dynamically in response to shifting urban conditions. Their cognitive abilities are further evidenced by their capacity to solve multi-step puzzles and manipulate objects, a testament to their advanced learning and adaptability. This intelligence is not innate alone. It is culturally transmitted, with juveniles learning intricate survival strategies through observation and imitation. Parisian crows employ collective strategies, leveraging both individual ingenuity and social learning to thrive amid the city's challenges. Their mastery of the urban environment is a striking example of behavioral flexibility, transforming the unpredictability of city life into a stable, resource-rich existence. Meanwhile, in London, the red fox has become an emblem of urban adaptability, seamlessly integrating into the city's ecological fabric. With an estimated population of 10,000, these foxes have established complex territories, utilizing the city's fragmented green spaces and hidden corridors. Their behavioral repertoire includes acute spatial memory and the ability to exploit subtle environmental cues, allowing them to coexist with the city's constant flux. Like their Parisian counterparts, London's foxes adhere to established routines, returning nightly to favored foraging grounds and secure resting sites. They demonstrate remarkable ingenuity in accessing food, timing their activities to coincide with refuse collection, and exploiting the city's patchwork of accessible spaces. Yet their relationship with the city extends beyond scavenging. They utilize urban green spaces for shelter, breeding, and even play, integrating seamlessly into the metropolitan ecosystem. Organizations such as Fox Are Gone advocate for coexistence, emphasizing the ecological role foxes play within the urban environment. Foxes act as natural regulators, preying on rodents and pigeons, thereby contributing to the control of potential pest populations. Their predatory behavior is both opportunistic and calculated, reflecting a nuanced understanding of the city's ecological dynamics. The presence of foxes in London underscores the importance of adaptive wildlife management and the need for informed urban planning. Historical attempts at eradication proved futile as vacant territories were rapidly recolonized, highlighting the resilience and adaptability of these animals. The city's abundance of resources ensures that any ecological niche left vacant is swiftly occupied. This dynamic turnover illustrates the futility of removal and the necessity of coexistence strategies. Urban environments offer a mosaic of shelter and sustenance, supporting a stable fox population that is both resilient and resourceful. The lesson is clear. Fostering coexistence is not only more effective but also enriches the urban ecosystem. The red foxes of London, like the crows of Paris, exemplify the extraordinary adaptability of wildlife, challenging us to embrace a shared future within the city's evolving landscape. The remarkable adaptability of urban wildlife is often celebrated, but city life presents a host of serious challenges for animals that are rarely seen by the public. Overpopulation is a persistent issue. In cities, the absence of natural predators and the abundance of food waste allow populations of certain species, such as deer, gulls, and crows, to grow unchecked. Urban environments provide a nearly limitless supply of food through garbage and discarded food, which can disrupt natural population controls and lead to ecological imbalances. As a result, some animal populations can reach unsustainable levels, putting pressure on limited green spaces and resources. For example, in a small park near Montreal, white-tailed deer have multiplied far beyond the land's capacity, stripping vegetation and threatening the long-term health of the ecosystem. Overbrowsing by deer leads to habitat degradation, loss of plant diversity, and ultimately, starvation and disease within the herd itself. These ecological consequences extend beyond the animals themselves, affecting the entire urban ecosystem. Invasive species present another major challenge. London's population of ring-necked parakeets, for instance, has soared to over 30,000. These non-native birds compete aggressively with local species for food and nesting sites, often displacing them and altering the urban avian community. Their loud calls and large flocks can disrupt the natural soundscape and create additional stress for native wildlife. Once established, invasive species are extremely difficult and costly to control, often requiring coordinated, long-term management strategies. Early intervention is critical, but delayed action can allow populations to explode, making solutions more complex and expensive. In addition to competition, urban animals face hazards unique to city life. Collisions with vehicles, exposure to pollutants, and ingestion of toxic substances from litter or chemicals are daily risks for many species. Light and noise pollution can disrupt natural behaviors such as migration, breeding, and feeding, leading to long-term population declines. Some animals, like rats and pigeons, thrive in these conditions, but are often labeled as pests, leading to widespread control efforts that may harm non-target species. Effective solutions require a combination of science-based management and public education. Some cities employ falconers to deter nuisance birds or allow controlled culls to manage overabundant populations, always under strict regulation to minimize suffering and ecological impact. Habitat restoration, such as replanting native vegetation and creating wildlife corridors, can help support balanced populations and reduce conflict. Innovative solutions like wildlife crossings, green roofs, and smart waste management are being tested in cities worldwide to reduce risks and promote coexistence. Ultimately, the future of urban wildlife depends on our willingness to adapt our cities, manage populations responsibly, and protect the delicate balance between human needs and animal welfare. The challenge is complex, but with thoughtful planning and collaboration, cities can become havens for both people and wildlife. Urban environments present a host of hidden dangers for wildlife, many of which are not immediately obvious to the human eye. Beyond the visible challenges of finding food and shelter, animals must navigate a landscape filled with subtle, often deadly threats. Chronic noise pollution is one of the most pervasive dangers. The constant hum of engines, horns, and machinery can disrupt animal communication and behavior. For many species, these sounds mask the cues they rely on to avoid predators or locate mates, leading to increased stress and reduced survival rates. In European cities, the great tit has been observed altering its song, raising the pitch to be heard over the urban din. This adaptation, while remarkable, comes at a cost. Higher-pitched songs may be less attractive to potential mates or less effective in territory defense. The need to compete with urban noise can fundamentally alter the way these birds interact and reproduce. Such rapid behavioral changes are a form of urban-driven evolution, but not all species can adapt so quickly. For some, the inability to adjust their calls or behaviors can mean isolation and population decline. Birdsong is not just a melody, it is a lifeline for territory and reproduction. When calls go unheard, the consequences can be severe: missed breeding opportunities and shrinking populations. Prolonged exposure to noise also elevates stress hormones, weakening immune systems and reducing life expectancy. These physiological and behavioral shifts highlight the profound impact of urban soundscapes on animal well-being. Animals are forced to modify not only their actions, but their very identities, shaped by the pressures of city life. Even intangible forces like sound can reshape the fate of urban wildlife. Another significant hazard is the prevalence of glass in urban architecture. Glass surfaces, invisible to birds, reflect sky and vegetation, creating the illusion of open space. Birds, unable to distinguish reflection from reality, often collide with these barriers at full speed. These collisions are frequently fatal, resulting in millions of avian deaths annually. Unlike natural obstacles, glass presents a unique and deadly challenge that wildlife has not evolved to recognize. In their native habitats, such dangers are virtually non-existent, underscoring the artificial risks of urban life. During migration, glass-clad skyscrapers become especially perilous, intercepting flocks that navigate by natural light and landscape cues. Artificial lighting compounds the problem, disorienting nocturnal migrants and increasing the risk of fatal collisions. Even seemingly safe green spaces can harbor invisible threats. In isolated urban parks, populations like the grey tree frog can become genetically trapped, unable to disperse beyond the boundaries of roads and buildings. This isolation increases vulnerability to disease, inbreeding, and environmental changes. The global spread of amphibian chytrid fungus poses a grave risk. If it reaches these isolated groups, local extinction is likely. With no escape routes, entire populations can be wiped out by a single outbreak. Urban green spaces, while vital, can become ecological islands, amplifying the risks of isolation and disease. These hidden dangers, chronic noise, deceptive glass, and genetic isolation, demonstrate the complex and often perilous reality of urban life for wildlife, demanding both awareness and innovative solutions for coexistence. As cities grow and change, animals are constantly adapting to the new environments humans create. For many species, the city is not just a place to survive, but a landscape full of opportunities and challenges. Urban animals develop new behaviors to navigate the concrete maze. Foxes learn to cross busy roads, pigeons nest on ledges high above the noise, and squirrels find food in unexpected places. Birds and insects transform city trees and flowers into vital habitats, creating networks of life that stretch across rooftops and alleyways. Some animals thrive in the vertical world of glass and steel, using green walls and rooftop gardens as stepping stones between fragmented habitats. For birds, the city's reflective surfaces can be perilous, but innovative building designs now help them avoid deadly collisions, allowing safe passage through the urban sky. Wildlife corridors, strips of green that connect parks and gardens, offer safe routes for animals to travel, find food, and seek shelter, reducing the risk of isolation. Small mammals like hedgehogs and foxes use these corridors to move between territories, ensuring genetic diversity and healthier populations. Even the smallest creatures, mice, frogs, and insects, benefit from these green pathways, which help them avoid roads and other hazards. In vast city parks, animals establish territories, raise their young, and interact with other species, forming complex urban ecosystems. These green spaces are essential refuges, supporting a surprising diversity of life within the city's boundaries. Animals learn to exploit new food sources, from seeds dropped in parks to insects attracted by city lights, constantly adapting their diets and behaviors. In some cities, beavers have returned to urban waterways, building dams that create wetlands and improve water quality for countless other species. Their engineering skills help manage floods and filter water, demonstrating how animal activity can benefit entire urban ecosystems. These new wetlands become havens for fish, amphibians and birds, expanding the city's biodiversity. As climate patterns shift, animals adjust their behaviors, seeking higher ground during floods or finding shade and water during heat waves. Injured or sick animals sometimes find help in urban wildlife hospitals, where they receive care before returning to their habitats. These facilities provide a lifeline for animals in distress, supporting the health of urban wildlife populations. The presence of such care centres reflects the growing importance of animal well-being in the urban environment. For many animals, the city is a place of both risk and opportunity, a dynamic world where adaptation is key to survival. Across the globe, animals are finding new ways to thrive in the heart of the city, shaping a future where urban life and wildlife are inseparable. The story of wildlife in the city is a testament to adaptation and transformation. As urban areas continue to expand, the relationship between cities and wildlife will become increasingly significant. Animals are learning to interpret our architecture as new habitats, converting ledges into nesting sites and scavenging opportunities into reliable food sources. Their behaviors, diets, and even physical traits are evolving to meet the demands of city life. Some researchers suggest we are witnessing the emergence of urban-adapted species, animals so specialized for metropolitan environments that they may eventually be unable to survive elsewhere. The city is evolving into a distinct ecosystem, a new arena for natural selection and adaptation. This remarkable adaptability is inspiring, but it also places a responsibility on how urban environments are shaped. The future of urban wildlife depends on the choices made in city planning and design. The way cities are constructed and maintained will determine whether these animals can continue to adapt or are pushed out entirely. Will cities persist in using materials and designs hazardous to wildlife, such as reflective glass that confuses and injures birds? Will urban waste continue to create unhealthy, overcrowded animal populations, leading to ecological imbalances? Or will cities adopt innovative solutions that support both biodiversity and urban function? Imagine a future where cities are seamlessly integrated with nature, providing continuous habitats for wildlife. Urban design could prioritize green infrastructure, buildings enveloped in vegetation, corridors of native trees, and water features that sustain animal populations. Rooftop gardens could become vital refuges for pollinators, birds, and small mammals, forming a network of elevated habitats. Streets could be lined with native plants, supporting bees, butterflies, and other essential pollinators. A connected system of parks, greenways, and wildlife bridges could allow animals to move safely across the urban matrix. These visions are not just theoretical, they are already being realized in cities that prioritize ecological health. Around the world, urban greening projects are restoring habitats, increasing biodiversity, and creating resilient urban ecosystems. Cities that support wildlife are more balanced, resilient, and sustainable, benefiting all species that call them home. The challenge is to expand the definition of urban community to include all creatures that share the city. Urban neighborhoods are home to a diverse array of wildlife, from squirrels and falcons to foxes and bats. These animals are not intruders, they are integral members of the urban ecosystem. Coexisting with them, mitigating conflicts through thoughtful design and fostering biodiversity are essential for a thriving urban future. By embracing this vision, cities can become living ecosystems, dynamic, diverse, and sustainable, where wildlife and urban life not only coexist, but flourish together. As the sun sets and city lights flicker on, a hidden world awakens in the shadows of our urban landscape. While most people retreat indoors, the city's true night shift begins. A cast of wild animals emerges to play, hunt, and survive beneath the neon glow. Rooftop raccoons, nimble and silent, scale drain pipes and leap between fire escapes with practiced ease. They pry into forgotten corners and rooftop gardens, their deft paws opening containers and scavenging for midnight snacks. In alleyways, opossums slip through fences, their pale fur almost glowing in the streetlight as they methodically comb through compost bins, acting as the city's unsung recyclers. High above, peregrine falcons perch atop silent skyscrapers, their keen eyes scanning for the slightest movement below. As the city quiets, bats swoop through the warm updrafts, navigating with flawless precision. They feast on clouds of insects drawn to streetlights, performing aerial acrobatics invisible to most eyes. In the parks and greenways, foxes emerge from their dens. With cautious steps, they weave through the shadows, their orange coats blending with the amber pools of lamplit grass. They listen for the scurrying of rodents, using the cover of darkness to hunt and teach their kits the art of survival. Meanwhile, hedgehogs and shrews rustle through leaf litter, foraging for beetles and worms in the cool, damp air. Even the city's waterways come alive. Otters slip into silent canals, their slick bodies leaving barely a ripple as they chase fish beneath bridges. Frogs call from hidden pools, their chorus echoing off concrete and stone, a reminder that wild rhythms persist in the heart of the metropolis. Each night these animals follow ancient routines adapted for modern terrain. They navigate a labyrinth of fences, walls and traffic, relying on sharp instincts and newfound strategies to thrive. Their senses are finely tuned to the city's rhythms, the hum of distant trains, the sudden hush as traffic fades, the brief window of darkness between street sweeper rounds. These nocturnal journeys are rarely seen, but they shape the balance of urban ecosystems. Every pawprint, wingbeat and rustle in the night is a testament to resilience and ingenuity. In the city after dark, wildlife writes a story of adaptation, one that unfolds quietly all around us while we sleep. Beneath the constant hum of city life, another challenge lurks, one that is invisible, yet deeply disruptive to the creatures who share our urban spaces. This is the world of noise and light pollution, powerful forces that transform the city's soundscape and skyline, altering the very fabric of animal existence. For many city-dwelling animals, communication is a matter of survival. Birds rely on songs to defend territories and attract mates. But in the city, the low rumble of traffic, the blare of sirens, and the ceaseless buzz of machinery can drown out even the loudest calls. Some birds, like the European blackbird, have adapted by singing at higher pitches or during the quietest hours of the night, an exhausting adjustment with uncertain success. The story is similar underwater. In city canals and rivers, aquatic animals face a barrage of mechanical sounds from boats and construction, fish and amphibians, which depend on subtle vibrations and calls to find mates or warn of danger, may lose their voices in this synthetic storm. Light pollution casts its own spell. The soft glow of streetlights, billboards, and illuminated buildings stretches far beyond what any moon or star could match. For nocturnal animals, this artificial brightness can be disorienting. Moths, drawn to streetlights, circle endlessly, abandoning their natural paths and falling prey to exhaustion or predators. Sea turtles hatching on urban beaches mistake city lights for the moon, leading them away from the safety of the sea. Migratory birds, guided by the stars, can become lost in a maze of illuminated skyscrapers, sometimes colliding with windows or veering off course entirely. Even urban foxes and bats, whose nightly routes depend on the cover of darkness, may alter their movements to avoid well-lit areas, shrinking their territories and limiting their access to food. These invisible barriers, noise and light, reshape the way animals navigate, communicate, and survive in the city. Each adaptation comes at a cost, forcing wildlife to find new ways to thrive amid the human-made sensory overload. The city's glow and roar may be signs of progress for people, but for the animals sharing our world, they are challenges to be overcome every night. Amid the concrete and chaos, every city holds secrets, patches of green that serve as vital sanctuaries for urban wildlife. These urban oases, whether sprawling city parks, tiny rooftop gardens, or hidden railway verges, are more than just pretty places. For countless animals, they are lifelines. Take the small but mighty pocket park, tucked between high-rises. Here, a hedgehog forages beneath tangled brambles, safe from busy roads and prowling domestic cats. Above, a robin builds her nest in a tangle of ivy, her chicks sheltered from city noise by a leafy canopy. In these green islands, insects thrive, bees buzzing among wildflowers, butterflies dancing between patches of sunlight, and ladybugs feasting on aphids. Larger parks tell a different story. In New York's Central Park, red-tailed hawks soar over meadows, hunting squirrels and pigeons. In Tokyo's Ueno Park, turtles bask on rocks in tranquil ponds, while kingfishers dart between reeds. Even railway embankments and roadside verges, often overlooked by humans, become corridors for wildlife. Foxes use these green ribbons to travel safely across the city, and rare orchids bloom undisturbed in the long grasses. Some animals have become specialists in urban green spaces. The European stag beetle, once common in forests, now finds sanctuary in the rotting logs of city cemeteries. In Singapore, otters have made a remarkable comeback, raising pups in rivers lined with parks and mangroves, right next to bustling city streets. These refuges aren't just for the rare or unusual. Common species, sparrows, frogs, dragonflies, depend on every scrap of green to feed, breed and hide. Each patch, no matter how small, weaves into a network of life, connecting one animal to another and providing hope in the heart of the city. For urban wildlife, green spaces are more than scenery. They are spaces of survival, resilience and renewal. In the next scene, we'll explore how these wild neighbors shape the city as much as the city shapes them. Beneath the city's surface, a hidden drama unfolds, a web of alliances, rivalries, and delicate negotiations among its animal residents. Urban wildlife don't just coexist. They interact, compete, and sometimes even collaborate in surprising ways, shaping the city's ecosystem with every move. Competition is fierce. In the shadows of alleyways and in the safety of rooftop gardens, sparrows and starlings tussle for prime nesting spots, while squirrels and rats race to claim discarded food before it disappears. In city ponds, turtles compete with fish for sunlit rocks, and dragonflies patrol their territories, chasing away rivals and intruders. But not all encounters are confrontational. Some animals form unexpected partnerships to survive city life. In some cities, crows and feral cats have been observed in a silent truce, one scavenging scraps the other leaves behind. In the tangled roots of city trees, ants and aphids strike a bargain. Aphids provide sweet sap, while ants offer protection from predators. Predators, too, play a crucial role. Peregrine falcons nesting on skyscrapers keep pigeon populations in check. Meanwhile, foxes help control rats and mice, maintaining a balance that keeps outbreaks at bay. Each species, predator or prey, competitor or collaborator, carves out a niche in the urban landscape, their relationships constantly shifting with the seasons and the city's pulse. Sometimes newcomers disrupt the balance. Invasive species, like the ring-necked parakeet in London or the American grey squirrel in European cities, outcompete native residents, changing the rules of the urban game. Yet over time, even these competitors settle into new rhythms, becoming part of the city's living tapestry. In the end, the city is not just a backdrop for wildlife. It's a stage where animals shape each other's lives, forging alliances and rivalries in their quest to thrive. Their interactions, often unseen by human eyes, remind us that the city's wild side is as complex and dynamic as any natural wilderness. As the city's skyline changes with the seasons, so too do the lives of its wild inhabitants. Each shift in temperature, light, and weather brings new challenges and new opportunities for survival. In the heart of winter, the city appears hushed, but beneath the frost, urban animals are hard at work. Pigeons huddle on subway grates, basking in the rising warmth. Squirrels, having buried caches of acorns in autumn, now rely on their memory to locate these hidden treasures beneath the snow. In the quiet of frozen ponds, turtles slow their heartbeat, entering a state of suspended animation to outlast the cold. Even rats adapt, tunneling deeper into underground passages, where the city's heat lingers just enough to keep them active. With spring's arrival, the city pulses with renewed energy. Songbirds return to parks and tree-lined avenues, their calls echoing between buildings. The rooftops become nurseries. Gulls, kestrels, and even the occasional owl raise their young on ledges high above the streets. Foxes emerge from hidden dens, their kits tumbling playfully in abandoned lots. In rain-filled gutters, tiny froglets take their first leap into city life, while bees awaken to forage among early-blooming flowers in window boxes and sidewalk cracks. Summer brings abundance and competition. Bats swirl through the night air, feasting on insects drawn to warm streetlights. Dragonflies dart over city fountains, hunting mosquitoes that thrive in stagnant water. Raccoons, emboldened by the long twilight, scavenge overflowing trash bins, while starlings gather in bustling flocks, their aerial dances painting patterns against the sunset. As autumn descends, the city's animals prepare for the lean times ahead. Squirrels and jays stash seeds and nuts, sometimes forgetting a few, planting the next generation of urban trees. Migratory birds pause in city parks, resting and refueling before continuing their journey south. Hedgehogs, in cities lucky enough to have them, gorge on insects and fallen fruit before seeking a quiet corner to hibernate. Spiders spin their final webs, catching the last of the season's flies before the first frost. Throughout the year, urban wildlife displays remarkable flexibility. They synchronize their rhythms not just with the natural world, but with the pulse of city life, adapting to traffic patterns, construction noise, and the ever-changing human footprint. With each season, the city's wild residents rewrite the rules of survival, proving that even in the most unlikely places, nature endures, resilient and ever-changing, in step with the city's eternal cycle. Each year, millions of migratory animals traverse continents, guided by ancient instincts, and increasingly by the unfamiliar contours of the urban landscape. Cities, with their soaring towers and shimmering glass, present both obstacles and opportunities for these travelers. For birds on the move, the city skyline can be a perilous gauntlet. Tall buildings with reflective windows confuse their navigation, leading to dangerous collisions. Yet many species adapt by altering their flight paths, using streetlights, bridges, and even river corridors as modern waypoints. Some birds, like swifts and swallows, pause to rest on rooftops and under eaves, exploiting the warmth and shelter these structures offer. Urban parks and rooftop gardens become crucial pit stops. Here, migratory species refuel, feeding on insects and berries that thrive in these green patches. For monarch butterflies, flowering city gardens offer essential nectar during their long journeys, while bats track the city's insect populations as they migrate from one urban oasis to the next. Waterways threading through cities, rivers, lakes, and reservoirs serve as lifelines for migratory fish and amphibians. Eels and salmon navigate concrete canals and weirs, often negotiating man-made barriers with surprising ingenuity. Some species have learned to time their migrations with city water releases, taking advantage of higher flows to ease their passage. Yet the city's challenges remain formidable. Artificial light can disorient nocturnal migrants, drawing them off course. The constant hum of traffic and construction drowns out the subtle cues these species rely on to communicate and navigate. Still, adaptation is ever present. Some birds delay their journeys, waiting for the quiet of early morning, while others synchronize their flights with the lull of midnight streets. Within the urban maze, migratory animals reveal their extraordinary resilience. They map new routes, exploit new resources, and in doing so, reshape the rhythms of city life itself. Each migration is a testament to their adaptability, a silent, soaring passage above the concrete, weaving the story of wild survival into the very fabric of the city. In the heart of every city, water is more than just a backdrop. It's a vital thread that weaves together the lives of countless urban animals. From hidden streams winding beneath concrete to bustling fountains in public squares, water sources shape survival strategies for wildlife in surprising ways. Take the elusive Eurasian kingfisher, whose electric blue flash is a rare sight along city canals. These birds hunt for small fish in slow-moving urban streams, perching on railings and overhanging pipes that have replaced the branches of their ancestral riverbanks. In the early mornings before traffic stirs, otters slip through city rivers, their silent presence only betrayed by ripples and the occasional glint of fur. They feast on fish drawn to the warm, oxygen-rich waters near sewage outflows, adapting their ancient hunting techniques to a modern world. Amphibians, too, find sanctuary in unexpected places. Frogs and newts lay eggs in forgotten rainwater drains and temporary puddles formed after storms. These ephemeral pools, though fleeting, provide safe havens away from predators and the bustle of city life. Meanwhile, dragonflies trace neon paths above urban ponds, their larvae thriving in the nutrient-rich waters of decorative fountains and garden ponds. For mammals, water offers more than just hydration. Urban raccoons and hedgehogs follow the scent of moisture to rooftop gardens and leaking pipes, using these scattered resources as stepping stones across the built environment. Even humble sparrows and pigeons rely on dripping air conditioners and overflowing gutters to quench their thirst during the hottest days. As seasons shift, the importance of water only grows. During heat waves, shallow basins and shaded streams become crowded refuges, drawing together species that might otherwise never meet. At night, the city's waterways reflect the moonlight, guiding nocturnal hunters and providing safe passage for bats skimming the surface in search of insects. In the city, every puddle, pond and flowing creek becomes a stage for survival. These watery lifelines sustain the hidden dramas of urban wildlife, connecting neighborhoods, species and stories in ways most city dwellers never see. Without water, the symphony of urban life would fall silent, a reminder that even in the most concrete of jungles, nature's needs remain unchanged. Beneath the glimmer of city lights and the gentle ripple of urban waterways, a quieter, more troubling story unfolds. Urban waste, plastics, chemicals and discarded food, seeps into every corner of the city's ecosystem, leaving an indelible mark on its wild inhabitants. For many animals, the search for food and shelter brings them dangerously close to human refuse. Rats and pigeons have become notorious for thriving on leftover scraps, but this easy bounty comes with hidden costs. Diets heavy in processed foods can lead to malnutrition, obesity, and even changes in reproductive cycles, subtly altering the very fabric of urban animal populations. Waterways, once lifelines, now carry invisible threats. Heavy metals, microplastics and chemical runoff from roads and factories accumulate in streams and ponds. Fish and amphibians absorb these toxins, their bodies becoming silent record keepers of pollution. In turn, predators like otters and kingfishers ingest contaminated prey, leading to weakened immune systems, disrupted hormones, and, in some cases, population declines. Even the city's smallest residents are not spared. Insects such as bees and dragonflies are exposed to pesticides and pollutants that can impair navigation, reduce fertility, and limit their ability to pollinate or reproduce. These subtle impacts ripple outward, affecting food webs and the balance of urban ecosystems. Behavior, too, is shaped by waste. Urban foxes and raccoons have learned to open trash bins and sift through litter, adapting their foraging habits to exploit new resources. But this ingenuity sometimes leads to dangerous encounters with plastics and sharp objects, causing injuries or entanglement. Yet, some animals display remarkable resilience. Crows and gulls, for example, have been observed using cigarette butts as nest lining, possibly to deter parasites, but also a stark reminder of how deeply human waste is woven into city life. The story of urban wildlife is now entwined with the story of urban waste. Each discarded wrapper, every drop of oil leaves a trace, altering diets, behaviors, and destinies. As cities grow and waste accumulates, the health of urban animals becomes an urgent reflection of our shared environment. In the shadows of the city, the consequences of pollution persist, shaping the future of the creatures who call it home. As urban landscapes continue to expand, the future of city-dwelling wildlife hangs in a delicate balance. Yet, across the globe, a quiet revolution is underway, one fueled by scientific innovation, creative urban design, and an emerging understanding of nature's resilience. Picture rooftops transformed into lush meadows, their wildflowers buzzing with pollinators. Green corridors weave through concrete, connecting fragmented habitats and allowing hedgehogs, squirrels, and even deer to traverse the city safely. In Singapore, vertical gardens climb skyscrapers, offering nesting spots for birds and butterflies high above the traffic. In Berlin, hidden bat boxes and insect hotels dot public parks, providing safe havens for creatures often overlooked. Technology, too, is shaping the next era of urban conservation. Sensors embedded in city infrastructure silently monitor water quality, air pollution, and animal movement, providing real-time data to guide restoration efforts. Artificial intelligence analyzes this information, predicting migration routes and pinpointing areas where wildlife crossings or green bridges can make the greatest impact. In the waters below, floating wetlands cleanse polluted rivers, their roots harboring fish and insects while filtering toxins. Smart lighting systems dim street lights during crucial migration periods, helping birds and bats navigate the night sky without disorientation. Even buildings themselves are changing, glass facades etched with patterns to prevent bird collisions, and permeable pavements that allow rainwater to nourish underground life. Yet the most powerful innovations are often the simplest, a log left to decay in a city park, becoming a microhabitat for fungi and beetles, a garden of native plants attracting bees and songbirds, a pond restored for frogs and dragonflies. These small acts, multiplied across neighborhoods, create a network of life woven through the urban fabric. As cities awaken to the value of their wild residents, the vision for tomorrow shifts, not a battleground between humans and animals, but a shared home where biodiversity thrives. The future of urban wildlife will be shaped not only by grand designs and new technologies, but by our willingness to reimagine what a city can be. A living mosaic, vibrant with the calls, footsteps, and fluttering wings of countless species. In this new chapter, the city itself becomes a sanctuary, and the story of urban life is richer, wilder, and more hopeful than ever before.